tomorrow. So
Yep, just in
you've
a couple
been
hours.
you've been just going all over the country down there.
Taking off again.
Yeah, people are so excited about this. Well, this is John Casero he's originally from California. That's where he's going home to someday. And
Yeah.
John comes here to talk to us about this exciting new club that we've got going on here. He's got over 43 years in financial planning services and found that this is the best thing we've ever done and ever seen.
Well, I think so. Everybody needs a place to protect their funds and their money, and this seems to be the place to go right now and for the foreseeable future. It looks like the market is beginning to turn around a little bit here. I think it's going to do really well towards the end of the year, and maybe even on into next year as well,
Oh, yeah.
because it's going up and down. But you know what? We really don't care so much about the price of Bitcoin because we actually mine more Bitcoin when the price is down, not up. So whether it's going up or down, we win on both ways. And you can keep track of all that stuff over here at CryptoCoins News, and Cointelegraph is another one, and I really recommend that people follow everything. The articles here are pretty short, but they're to the point, and they really kind of keep you abreast as to what's going on in the universe. But just remember, what they say today, they don't necessarily say tomorrow. So just follow it and keep abreast of what's happening. Now, one of the things that we want to do is make sure everybody understands that this is not something that's just a flash in the pan. This is here, it's operational. And Bitcoin recently was stated that it was not a security, neither was Ethereum nor Litecoin. It's something that was created and the people have created it as value. So it's really the people's kind of internet money because people want to use it and they're adopting it and it's happening quickly. Not only that, you have guys like Richard Branson, and he knows what's going on. He's a self-made billionaire, and I always pay attention to what he's doing. But if he's in here, don't you think you should be too? Also, the National Association of Security Dealers is in here. I don't know how they're going to use Bitcoin, but they may use some of the blockchain technologies. But you know, they're not one and the same. Bitcoin and blockchain is different. They work together, but they're different. Another thing you need to know is that the big banks are in here. Look, there's Wells Fargo, there's Goldman Sachs, there's JP Morgan, Thomson Reuters, and Andreessen Horowitz, the guy that developed Netscape, and more. The more you look through their program, you're going to see all these different countries involved, different locations. There's just a massive amount of money that's moving into this sphere of this program. And, you know, it really just is expanding beyond our ability to follow it. Just so many places and so many countries. But the neat thing you need to know is look at the acceleration of the funds in the program. In 2012, it was only $2 million, and by 2017, July, it was $1.8 billion. And I'm willing to bet it's probably 3.8 billion at this point in time, and that's why nobody's keeping track of this anymore. Can't find a new chart. But, you know, this is just amazing to see just how much money is flowing into this area in such a short period of time. It really means that we need to pay attention to what's going on. Now, sometimes people still say that this is not legal. I've heard that quite often. Not so much as I used to, but you still have to be able to show people that it's not the case. Everything is fine. It's approved by the federal government, for sure. And you do that by showing them Bitcoin IRA. Bitcoin IRA is a program that takes Bitcoin and digital currencies inside IRA and 401k accounts. You know, now those accounts were created for your benefit. But they're controlled by the federal government, and they don't allow scams. They don't allow illegal things into those programs, primarily because they own them. You put the money in those programs, and they own it. Court cases have held already that when you put money into any kind of a financial institution, it's really not yours. It's theirs, and they can do with what they want. But the thing about Bitcoin and digital currencies in an IRA and a 401k, you really are giving up control. There's a trustee that is between you and your funding once you put it in. And you have to surrender your private keys. You know, that little song we were listening to just a minute ago talked about public and private keys. It's that private key, that encrypted key that nobody can see or we don't use to transact, that actually gives you control and ownership of that coin. Once you put it inside one of these accounts, it's no longer yours. And that trustee that's between you and your money, well, they're going to follow the rules or whatever they say that government wants them to do, more than when they're going to follow your instructions. But one of the things that you can take away from this right now is that Barron's and the Wall Street Journal also provide legitimacy because they say that Bitcoin is a red-hot asset that's now being used for retirement investments. And the world's hottest asset is the newest way to invest for retirement, according to the Wall Street Journal. That's super important right now, you guys, you know, because all the pensions are failing out there. Where can you put your pension money for safety? Right here in Bitcoin. But I don't recommend putting it in a Bitcoin IRA. I recommend keeping it private and put it into cold storage and use it when you need it in the future. Now, the other thing we need to show you is that we're real. We actually are doing the mining. And this little chart that's over on blockchain.info changes every day. You know, the amount of Bitcoin and the different percentages that each different company, and these are the only companies that are mining at profit. And if the little company you're looking at to double your Bitcoin in 90 days isn't here, then you know what? You better check and see what's going on and tell them you want to see their bank account. Now, this is the only organization that will show you the bank account, where all the money goes and how much money you have. It shows you that we don't have any shortage of money. We're not short of it at all. We really don't need any more. But you're welcome to join the program on an invitation-only basis. So what you need to do to find out and prove that everything that is copacetic, you come down here and you find the name, Bitclub Network, and you click on that link, and it takes you to the most recent block that they created and it got the awards for new Bitcoins. Once you click on that link, it takes you to that transaction, the most recent transaction. And this one shows that it has 2,177 transactions in this block. And the fees that the miners received were $2,648, plus the difficulty rate. The difficulty rate represents the number of calculations per second that had to be achieved in order to generate the proper result for the block to win the award. And what's the award? 12.5 Bitcoin, and that's fixed. It's not something that we control or anybody else controls, it's just part of the system. Currently, based on the current market value of a Bitcoin, that 12.5 Bitcoin represents $82,358. Now, another thing that shows that we're actually mining is that it says this newly generated coins, because there's no input. They didn't come from any place. They were just released into the system when we win the block. And there's no output. There's no other place for any other funds to go in that transaction. So it has to go somewhere, and it goes right into our bank account, and you get to see that. Now, it's not my personal bank account. It is the Bitclub's bank account, and it is a collective we. So here is 483,152,000, and that represents the current market value of the coins that have been distributed. Now, the value changes all the time. The Bitclub members are holding $110,248,000 worth of coins at this moment. And if you want to see actually how many coins that is, you click on the little green button down here and it changes it to Bitcoin. And this is proof that we are mining. This number goes up every single day. So far, we have mined 73,259 Bitcoin, which have all been distributed to the members at no additional cost. You see, what we're doing is we are selling machines, buying and selling machines, and you can take those machines home, or you can take those machines and you can be a collective owner in the pool and mine along with them. And the mining is basically free. These coins are distributed to you without any additional fees or charges because you're simply a member in the pool. Okay? And that's proof, along with this statement down here, newly generated coins and this whole transaction, that we are actually mining. Guaranteed. Okay, so let's do our little presentation here. This is our masthead. Kathy and I are trying to support a team. We have referred a number of people into the program, and we're trying to help them help the people that they've referred into the program. And one of the ways we do that is by providing a generic website called joinbitcoinclub.com. And we recommend that you send people there all the time for prospective invitees, people that you'd like to have join the club. It's just information, and anybody can go there. It's no big problem. They don't have to sign up for anything. There's no capture page or anything like that. You can get in touch with us through Skype anytime, but we want to know, why you're connecting with us, because we get a lot of people that want to talk to us, but they want to pitch their little scammy program, and we're just not interested. We have the best thing on the planet, and we don't want to change and stop what we're doing to even look at something else at this point in time. So when you connect with us, we're going to say, well, tell us why, and if you don't tell us why, then we probably won't connect with you unless we know who you are for some reason. And then we're going to want to know who referred you. It's very important to us to know that so that we can get you back to the proper person for anything that needs to be done. Bitclub Network Global Leaders is our Facebook page. We want you members to add your friends and family yourself into the Facebook page so that your name is attached to them. In other words, so when they say, hey, I want to talk to somebody, I have a question, we can go to the membership list and we can see that you invited them, and we can send them back to you. You can answer the question and send them back to you. The other neat thing about this is it's a 24/7 website on a worldwide basis. Somebody's always up here at some point in time, and sometimes if people have questions, they can ask them questions right there and get them answered. Pretty neat. Okay, so we make every effort to ensure that we accurately represent the products and services of Bitclub and the potential for economic gain. Earnings or Bitcoin cash flow statements made by the company or members are estimates of what you can possibly receive. There is no guarantee that you will make these levels of Bitcoin, and you accept the risk that the earnings and Bitcoin income possibilities differ by individual. The examples are not to be interpreted as any guarantee, promise, representation, or assurance. We do not purport Bitclub as being a get-rich-quick scheme. It's certainly not. Nothing of the sort. Bitcoin first occurred as a global currency in 2009, and that's when the first coins were transacted. Somebody said, "I'm hungry, I need some pizza, and if you send me some pizza, I'll give you 10,000 Bitcoin." That happened. But it's not money. Now, it's not controlled by any government or issued by any institution of government. Therefore, it's not money. It's a form of property, and it's done person to person, just like handing cash to somebody. You know, when somebody has a birthday and you put a couple bills inside of a card and hand it to them, that's a private transaction. We didn't need to go through a bank to do that. It's safe, it's fast, and it's anonymous. Well, as anonymous as it can be. You can't actually be traced. It's kind of difficult because we don't use English languages. We use computer addresses. But it can be done. So another reason we don't want any nefarious or nasty people in here. We just want people that we'd like to go on vacation. So just invite good people, because good people are great, and they have a good time, and they do good things with any kind of money they have. Sometimes bad people just get worse, not better. Anyone can set up a Bitcoin account, so that means that kids can do it. A lot of kids do, because this isn't banking. This isn't money. This is a form of property. I kind of think about it like collecting fancy baseball cards. No fees, no chargebacks, and no borders. And I think that's very important, because I always say that people need to be ready to take an extended vacation at a moment's notice. You never know when you're going to have to leave an area. You know, there's nothing that says today you got a nice peaceful place, and tomorrow the volcano won't show up. There's just no way to know. Or a big storm will come in, or something will happen and you have to leave. And what you want to be able to do is take your wealth with you. You don't want to have to leave it behind. And you can do that, because Bitcoin is good in every location, in every country, and it is convertible into any currency. So who uses Bitcoin? Well, the question is more likely, who doesn't use Bitcoin? Pretty soon, everybody will be using Bitcoin. And if you have some confusion about that, you should ask the organization or the company that you're talking to and see if they'll take Bitcoin. A lot of them will do that. In 2014, there were $54 billion worth of fees paid by money moving around the planet. You know, that's gone now. If they'd used Bitcoin back then, it would have been $5 billion. But we really don't need banks, Citibank, MoneyGram, or anybody, or Western Union, to transfer funds anymore. We just use our Bitcoin in the computer. You may still need a debit card for some reason, and if you do, these are some of the companies that you can actually go to. You have to be careful about which ones you choose. Make sure you get one that maybe is probably going to be tax-friendly to you. But that won't be a problem very much longer, because Bitclub itself is coming out with its own debit card. And there are a lot of benefits to having the Bitclub card as opposed to having a commercial card that actually goes through banks, because ours doesn't. Everybody kind of likes that idea. I know I do. Here's actually how it works. We're a miner. And what miners really do is they create the blocks, and they all compete with one another. And there are only 21 million coins that will ever be available for creation. 17 million have already been mined. The last coin will be mined in the year 2140. Now, so in order to get computer people incentivized to set up the mining programs, there's an award that was granted when it first started, 50 Bitcoin. And for the first 4 years, 50 Bitcoin was given to any one of the miners that created that 10-minute block. You see, what miners really do is they secure and create the network. And there are computers all around the world called nodes that have a complete record of from the beginning of the first block that was created all the way to the current. And they're kind of like a bunch of chickens running around the yard all clucking at each other. They use gossip technology to verify all the transactions. That's called a confirmation. And if any one of those records that comes in is different, is not conforming to all of the records that people have, the blocks have, I mean the computer miners have, then it's considered a bad transaction and it's discarded. Now, after the first 4 years, it cut to 25 Bitcoin, and then now in 2016 in July, it cut to 12 and a half Bitcoin, and in 2 years, less than 2 years, it's going to cut again to become 6.25 Bitcoin. So it's a deflationary program, not like the fiat currencies that always get inflated and printed and printed and printed. And every dollar that you have now today is worth less than the dollar that you had the day before. So the adoption rate is going up according to the black line, and with that goes price, because scarcity is created by having a deflationary system here. And more people want to get their hands on Bitcoin, and so they're willing to pay more to get it. And that's what controls the pricing. Now, what's the big deal about the Bitclub and the mining programs? Well, there's three ways to do mining. You buy the machines, you pay for the electricity, you pay to cool the machines, and you have to constantly increase the machines because your equipment becomes outdated. Look, the calculations required are 5 trillion per second at the moment. Your computers are just not going to do that. You have to have specialized computers, and they cost a lot of money, and they go out of date because they can't keep up, and you have to constantly update them. There's another way called cloud mining, and that's where a company sets up a whole bunch of computers, and they sell you time on those computers as well, the hash rate, the speed at which they go out and find the Bitcoin. But they got the same problems. At the end of that year contract, you've got to come back in and renew the contract, and you're going to get back in at the same price. It's hard to know because the company has to have newer computers, and somebody's got to pay for that. Plus, when they distribute the coin, you're not an owner in the organization. You do have fees and charges when they do the distribution. So the amount of coin you actually receive can be quite much less compared to the Bitclub itself. But there's something else special about the Bitclub, and that is they created a system whereby you only need to pay one time in order to join the Bitclub for your machine, and you never have to come out of pocket again. So you pay once and collect forever. What they did and came up with was something called a repurchase agreement. That repurchase agreement allows you to buy partial shares of your existing pool and automatically grow your mining power. A partial share is defined as 5% of the pool value. So if you have a $500 pool, 5% of that is $25. So every time your machine mines $25 worth of Bitcoin, you get to buy one of these little bees. That's a partial share. Now, because it's 5% of the pool value, every time you get 20 of these little partial shares, 20 times 5 is 100, so that would be 100%. You get a whole new entire machine. So in the first year, you mine a certain amount, and it generates a machine. So in the second year, you are mining with 2 machines, and those 2 machines create a third one in half the time that it took to create the second one, and then those 3 generate a fourth one, those 4 generate a fifth one, and so on. It's a very, very proven method. It's been proven because it's been in operation since October of 2014. Nobody ever loses any money here. They don't have to come up with out of pocket. It's a proven system. In fact, they've grown like crazy and have well over 1 million contracts in operation at this point in time, and are growing by about 8,000 a day. Really quite spectacular. And so you're invited to join if you're here. Now, there are some other ideas. Some people say, well, I don't want to do that. I just want to go buy some stocks. I want to make a lot more money a lot faster doing that. Well, for your lifetime? Nah. You need to study how that stuff is done. The average person is not investing. They're gambling when they go into stocks. They don't go and invest in companies. They don't go look at their books and talk to the CEOs and check out the business plan and see if there's any problems with their marketing. You buy it based on the story. That's not investing. That's gambling. Others want to go into trading. They say, well, I can make more money trading. Well, that's proven not to be so true. There are some people that do really well with that. That's really the rare exception. Majority of people lose money, and it takes a long time to learn how to do it. Some people say, well, I'm just going to buy silver and gold and hang on to that because that's God's money. Well, okay, so it is. Have you ever picked up $5,000 worth of silver? You can't haul it around. You got to put that in a packet. So if you had to leave in a hurry and go someplace, you'd never get it across the border. People are losing their assets all the time when they're walking around and carrying them because of the so-called asset forfeiture program, where they just presume that you shouldn't have that kind of money, and the only reason you have that kind of money is because you're doing something bad, and they take it from you. Well, if if the government doesn't take it from you, then somebody else might try, because you can't hide this stuff. It's just too heavy. Now, the other alternative would be, I'm just going to buy some Bitcoin and hang on to it. Great idea. I think you should do that because right now you can actually buy whole coins. You're not going to be able to buy them in the future. You're only going to be able to buy little bits and pieces. So the other thing is that two things are going to happen. They're not going to grow if you do buy them. And if you can't buy any more because the price goes up dramatically, you're stuck with what you have. And two things happen. One is that the price is going to go way up, and you're going to see that number, and you're going to say, "Oh no!" And you start worrying about whether it's going to start coming down. You don't want to lose the value, so you're going to sell it to lock in the value, and you're going to have a good time. You're going to enjoy that, and you're going to go spend it, and you're going to just love everything that you did. What a great deal that you got, but you're out. You can't get back in. There's no way. It's just too expensive. So the real answer here is to buy the goose that lays the golden eggs. Get in the mine. It generates Bitcoin for you every single day. It's already proven. They've got almost a 4-year track record in place already. Nobody's lost any money, and nobody ever will because you recover the cost of your machines. Approximately 6 months to a year is how it's been running. Now, there's no way we can predict all of that. We can't make you any promises, but that's what's been happening. We can only talk about that because we have no idea what's going to happen in the future. But we do know that Bitcoin is being adopted on a worldwide basis. This is not a local event. This is something that the whole world is rushing to, and it's rushing to quickly. The change that's coming in our society is unbelievable. It's hard to predict how things are going to change, but we do know that the blockchain technologies are going to put millions, hundreds of millions of people out of work. You couple that with robotics, and a lot of people are going to need a way to make a living. And we do know that the pensions are failing, and there's no way $20 trillion in deficit, $200 trillion in unfunded mandates is going to end in a nice way. You've really got to protect your assets. It's not that we need so much money. The fact is we don't need any money. We could continue on without anybody joining us, but you need what we have here to protect the money that you have. And so we invite you to take a look at it because I want us to be okay. I want us to have an economy that we can do business in Bitcoin. And regardless of what they do to the dollar economy, we can continue to buy goods and services from each other as long as we have Bitcoin. And we can do it on a worldwide basis, which is really phenomenal. All right, I'm going to prove now that the Bitcoin price is absolutely going to go up because, it's based on the dollar value going through it. In other countries, it's going to be based on whatever currency that you want to show it. But the same thing is happening all over the world, not just in any one country. So $89 billion worth of sales from Amazon created a $2.6 billion in transaction fees. Now, all they've got to do is eliminate the debit and credit cards and use Bitcoin, and all of a sudden Amazon is going to more than double its net profit. Well, they're going to do that, don't you think? I mean, a smart CEO would do that. He'd probably be fired if he didn't do that. So that $89 billion will be flowing into the Bitcoin network. So you take the current pricing of Bitcoin plus $6,300. Now you're talking about a $15,000 coin. Well, add to that the $600 billion that is big money flowing around the planet in 2014. That created that $54 billion of fees, which now will disappear. And that $600 billion flowing through the network will add $42,800 to the value of Bitcoin. Now you're talking about a $50,000 coin, right? Well, add to that the gasoline. There's $234 billion that was spent. That'll create $34,400 more dollars. Now you're talking $75,000 to $100,000 a coin just with those changes, and that doesn't include all of the gambling that's going on out there. Gambling is really big in different parts of the world, and the coin values are going to reflect that on a worldwide basis. Also, all these guys that play games. There are people out there that spend as much as $60,000 on Yoville and Farmville tokens just to be able to play the game, and they take Bitcoin. So all that money will be flowing through the network. All of this money from these different industries and businesses will be flowing through the network. We haven't even begun to talk about it. We're going to get a manufacturer's guide and look at all of the different companies all around the world and look at the dollar volume of their business, and that will all be flowing through here because it just makes sense. It's just much easier to transact business by using Bitcoin than it is to go through a bank. Really, this is a bank extinction event in our lifetime. We don't really need them. Banks are still going to be around for different services, but we really don't need them on a daily basis to transact business anymore. Now, the other thing you need to think about is that There are 2.5 billion people in the world who have no banking right now, and there's about 4 billion that are underbanked. They need more banking. And the thing is that the third world has phones, and that's all it takes to operate this thing. They don't have computers, they don't have tablets, but they do have phones. And so they are able to do business. So now somebody in India and Peru who's generating a nice piece of art can sell it to somebody over in Europe and actually get paid for it now, where that was impossible before. They're never going to give up on that. So what's the value going to be when all of that money begins flowing through the network? Max Kaiser says the coin value is going to be in excess of $1 trillion. And you can begin to see that when you look at maybe 1% of the asset base of the United States flowing into the value of the coin. What about 1% of the asset base of the whole entire planet flowing through Bitcoin? What about 1%, 2% of the gold market, which is $7 to $9 trillion flowing into the network? Do you see that? You see how it's going to go up in value, the volume of money that's going to be flowing through this network? Because it's good for people. And the countries with emerging economies that have been really torn up kind of by the big banks, they don't have to do business with them anymore. They can default on the loans and walk away. And at the same time, they can increase the value in their economies. I think it's a win-win situation for everybody on the planet. These are the guys, these are the companies that are doing their best to try to lock this down. And of course, they all own all the money, and they own all the governments, and they tell the governments, stop that. We don't want that over there anymore. Well, you heard the little song. They can't control it. There's just no possible way, because the people here in the countries that are trying to block it, and the developers in those countries will simply leave and go to the countries that is more favorable, in which these guys have no control over. So the world is changing, my friends, and you're either going to join it and profit from it, or you're just going to stand by and watch it happen. Now, what happens is the software companies work with the hardware companies to generate the mining products. The miners then generate the coin, and the coin needs to go to a custodial account when it's distributed to the individuals to get it. If you want to buy, sell, and more, or changes to different coins, you go to an exchange. And then this represents all of the little companies that are being established all over the planet right now.
Exactly.
To generate a market. And this is something you're not seeing here. When you look at the meetings that are being held in different countries, especially in Asia, thousands of people are showing up to do that, to see it, to get involved with it. And when I go around and I talk to people in meetings, I'm getting less than 100 people sometimes. And that just shows you that there's a level of understanding and opportunity available to people right now in the Western countries, especially in this hemisphere, the Northern and Southern hemisphere. It's just virtually wide open to opportunity to refer people and help them protect themselves and their assets from any kind of banking collapse. I don't know what's going to happen. Nobody really does. We've seen what's happened in the past, and that's all we can go on. And so it looks like we're going to need to use Bitcoin as a way to help ourselves, just like the people in Venezuela are using Bitcoin to protect themselves from the total collapse of their country. Not good news. The state of Illinois is, I don't know, they can't pay their bills. They're talking about raising property taxes more than 1% in addition to what they have. And I've always said the property tax bills are going to go as high as the current value of the house, because what's going to happen is the economies go down. It's going to suppress the real estate market. The prices on the properties are going to drop. And nobody will want to buy them, especially when the property taxes are going to equal to or exceed the value, current market value of the properties. It's really a dangerous situation, and you've got to do something to put yourself in a position to protect the value of what you work for. You have exchanged your life essence. You get up, you go to work every day, and you exchange that essence for some kind of funding, some kind of money. And you hope to be able to have something in the future to retire on. Well, right now it's looking pretty shaky. Getting into this Bitcoin program, you're not going to have any problem. Okay, it really is everything can be done by the phone. And if you want to see that in operation, just go to Starbucks and watch all the young people paying with the phones. They're not using debit cards or anything. They're not going to the bank asking for a credit card. They're just using their phone to make their payment. Simple and easy to do. Same thing with getting on an airplane. Your boarding pass is right there on your phone, and that's all you got to do is hand it over the machine, and you're in like Flint. Right on there, bing, and away you go. All right, so Bitclub has also come out with another technology called CoinPay. CoinPay is a merchant settlement system, and what it does is it allows the merchant to accept crypto coins for payment, but they may not want that. They may not want coins. They may want dollars. So the system automatically converts the coins that the customer is using to buy goods and services into whatever specie that the merchant wants. It's dollars, it's dollars. If it's pesos, it's pesos. It doesn't really matter. But the neat thing is that is really substantially reduced costs, and you don't have to use debit or credit cards, and the merchant doesn't have to pay exorbitant fees, and he doesn't have to argue with the banks, and he doesn't have to deal about with chargebacks because it's an instant payment program. Credit cards and stuff have 30-day settlements associated with them, and people can charge back. That can't happen here. And you, as a Bitclub member, will be able to go to merchants and offer this program to them. It's a pretty neat deal. We think that's going to be bigger probably than the Bitclub's program because there's just so many merchants all around the planet that can use it. And that's only one technology that's coming. I understand there are quite a number more technologies coming because Bitclub is so big right now, it's impossible to fail. There's so many people coming offering technologies available to the club that you'll be able to participate in the future as a member. So it's a one-time membership fee, and then you pick your pool. The one founder pool they have is $3,500, and that's really the only pool they have, but it consists of 3 pools, Bitcoin pools, and when you own all 3 of those, you're considered having a founder pool. What's cool about that is there's all kinds of bonuses and things, offers that are associated with owning that are given to you. Right now, the bonus is 1,000 shares of the CoinPay company. It's headquartered in Hong Kong. And remember, that thing is already operational in Japan and Korea right now on full steam. And the Bitclub itself is also beginning to use that, and the debit card will use that system as well. It's really pretty neat, and it's operating flawlessly. They're not having any problems or any hiccups. Okay, now one thing I wanted to show you was the partial share system and how that actually looks in an account, so you get you to understand that. So here is a founder pool, pool number 1, pool number 2, and pool number 3. All 3 of those consist of a founder pool. And so in June of 2017, we acquired 2 full shares of this pool, all across the board. So that's $3,500 per founder position. So that's 2 times that. So let's put out $7,000. And then the mining begins, and we're currently putting 100% of the mining into partial share buildup because we want to build as many shares as we can to generate more mining for us. And you can see the first 2 shares will expire in 634 days, but each one of these little partial shares begins mining for you as well and has 1,000 days of mining. And it just continually adds up. And every 20 of these adds up to a whole full number share. So we started in June, and at the end of January, the 28th, 2018, we now have in there, without putting out any more funding, 4.24 shares and not 2. So did we do well? Did we do good? We put out 7,000, and if you multiply 4.2424 times $3,500, that's going to be right around 14 or 15,000 in value of the pool. Pretty neat, isn't it? See, it works. It works really well, and this will just keep growing and compounding as long as we let it do that, because it really works well because the top position that we brought in sponsored this one. And so every time we get partial shares, there's a commission paid to the top position. And at the same time, when the new shares come up, each one of these new ones that we got, there was another commission paid on that. So it's a win-win situation for everybody. Anyway, let's open it up and see if anybody has any questions.
All right, thank you very much. Excellent program. I love the simplicity about this. I didn't know anything about Bitcoin at all, just a couple of years ago, and didn't want to learn. And I guess apples don't fall too far from the tree because my mother at age 64 worked for the School of Nursing, and she decided to retire because they came out with this new program called Windows. Oh my God, she did not want to learn that. Windows. So we feel like Bitcoin is kind of like when you brought the railroad and the radio and what's the other one you used?
TV.
TV.
No, it wasn't TV. Electricity. Radio, electricity, and railroads.
Yeah, this is so revolutionary. I mean, it is just like that. I remember when they came out with ATM machines. I didn't need that. I had my checkbook. What do I, I'm never
Yeah,
going to
I
need
didn't want to use ATM
that.
machines either.
So, and then Bitcoin now, and it's just fascinating. The more you learn, and the person I really like to listen to that breaks it down, doesn't have any skin in the game, Andreas Antonopoulos. He is just a guru at explaining Bitcoin. But this program, whoever invited you here thought enough about you to want to invite you in here because this is a private club, and they think a lot about you to do that. Um, it's really awesome. Go out and thank them after you see this tonight. Excuse me. Do we have any? We have a lot of guests in the house, so if you would like to ask some questions, just scroll down to the bottom of the page and you'll see participants. Click on that and you can unmute yourself, or you can type in our chat room, which is down there as well. So, and if we have new members, please speak up now and tell them what you like about this program. I like it because that's the point I was getting to. Is you can just go in there and buy a pool, you set it and forget it. Just that easy. You don't have to remember everything that Don just explained to you. You can just learn it as you go, and it isn't that difficult at all. We have Bill in the house. Go ahead, two bit.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that last slide that you put up. I'm so happy that you include that in the conversation because it shows you how powerful the compounding is on this. You know, Kathy, you just mentioned you just buy it and leave it alone, but you leave it alone and then you kind of watch it and you see it compounding as fast as it does on that slide, and it does that for all of us. You can't just sit on the sideline and be a miner. I know I started out, I was fine. I had my three positions and that was all I was going to have. But those numbers start multiplying, and you get pretty excited, and you sure want to share it with all your
Oh,
friends.
yes, you do. Yeah, it's absolutely what happens. We have people that come in, and I'm never going to tell anybody about that, and they're the first ones that are calling us. Can you talk to us with this person over here? Because I think they really like to see it. It's like, yeah, sure, you know. So it's amazing what this does to you. It's a real game changer for so many people,
Well, they find out it's not a little scam; it's real,
right?
and
Yeah.
and actually they can with confidence show somebody because they're not going to be embarrassed by putting somebody into some kind of program because all these things that have failed before when people are out there doing scamming us.
Oh yeah. We
This
don't have
isn't
any
that.
no hidden fees. We don't have any product or demand to sell. You know, and this company's been around since 2014, and they've grown into over $1 billion club just that fast.
I keep using the word company all the time,
I
and it's
know it's a
really
club.
not.
It's a club.
It's not a company.
No,
It's a collective organization in which we all are owners. We have our machines in the pool, and we're all mining together in order
exactly.
to generate and have the most powerful computers, so we can actually get a good share of that Bitcoin that's out there every day. Right now, we can collect 1,800 coins a day, but we are in competition with all of the other miners on the planet. Soon, we will be the largest mine on the planet this year,
Yes, we will.
and that's going to change things dramatically, and we're going to start to see our mining amounts start really climbing up.
Oh yes, and they have purchased all of their equipment in advance. Do you want to touch on that?
Well, yeah, the
Debt
club
free.
does. It prepays it for its machines so that we're purchasing all of the product of these miners or these companies that produce the mining machines. And in fact, they've delayed on delivering a lot of it. And so what's happened is that we don't want to slow down and be constricted by these companies. So the club is large enough now that it's actually able, with the volume that they've been buying machines, to actually do their own manufacturing. And we're going to start using the 7 nanometer chips in our new boxes. And that's just part of the planned upgrades that the club is constantly doing, making sure that our computers are always competitive. That's just part of where the mining proceeds go. Some of that from the mining comes in every day, all goes to operational expenses. Anyway, so
Which means we will have the fastest, baddest, quickest equipment in the world.
right. we're prepared to go to those
It's,
higher calculation requirements,
it's
and we'll
amazing.
continue to stay so. Well, listen, I think we're going to do a training class here at the top of the hour, and there's a new update by Russ. You were
Yes.
saying that probably would be a good thing to play for everybody doing the training thing, because Michael's not here today. J. Michael is training,
Yeah,
right?
J. Michael is baseball has been very, very good to him, and he's at a game tonight. He works there for the Angels. So we're going to do just a little quick question and answer for members only. So if you're a guest, you have a question real quick, go ahead and raise your hand. If I don't see any questions, I guess we'll let everybody go. We won't, or we will have a Friday webinar again, but John is on the road and he's got a meeting scheduled at that time. So it will be J. Michael Seeley and myself, possibly with a rerun. I'm not sure yet. So we're going to wing it.
That's okay, because we got a lot
We
of
keep it
recordings.
real and we keep it live. So, but J. Michael's awesome. So do come back Friday. 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we can watch a webinar together and answer your questions. So bring your guest. All right, everybody. We will thank our guests for coming, and we'll reconvene here in about 10 minutes.
Well, no, a little more than that, probably. Well, 10 minutes is okay. Yeah.
15 minutes. Okay.
Okay.
10,
All right.
15.
See y'all later. Bye.
All right. Thank you for coming. Get back to the person that invited you here tonight. Get more information. This is the best program on the face of the earth. All right. Take care, everybody. Good night.